Hello everybody, today is the day that all grassland farmers look forward to. It's the day we get our plonkers out. So today is the 18th of February 2019 and we're going to go out and we'll start measuring our grass growth. So what we're going to do today, we're going to take a reading as like a base reading to where we start off, and then we will come back next week and measure again to see if the grass is growing yet. It is still early, but we've got a dry week coming, a warm week according to the forecast. So we'll see if the grass has got going yet. So I go around once a week and measure the whole farm and note it all down in a book. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to take note of just 4 fields. So we're going to take a look at a permanent pasture field that has never been ploughed, certainly that I've never known it ploughed. We're going to look at a field that was reseeded a year ago, this time last year. We're going to look at the seed that we oversowed in the autumn, which you will have seen the video for that hopefully. And at almost the same time as that, we did a full autumn reseed, and I showed that back in October, I think that was. So we'll look at those 4, and then we will come back next week and measure those 4 again, and then get a comparison between permanent pasture, a 1-year-old lay, and a lay that's not yet been grazed because it was just put down in September of last year. Right, so this is it's a rising plate meter, they call it officially. So it's a lightweight, it's all aluminium construction and plastic for the bottom, and what it is, so it's a large plastic disc with the shaft that goes down through, and as you press it onto the grass, it goes down, that base touches the ground, and it takes a reading of the distance between the ground and the top of the grass. So the shaft it's got all these grooves in, and it's got this little wheel that rides up and down. And every time you take a reading, it beeps and records on this side and your average height. So if we take a reading, so that would be kilograms of dry matter per hectare, and that is your average height of the grass, is 8.3 centimetres. So we'll demonstrate the importance of using your plonker correctly. By first off, you need to keep the handle perpendicular to the ground to get an accurate reading. Okay, so that's giving us a reading of 1,914 kilograms of dry matter per hectare and an average height of 10.1 centimetres. So we'll reset that now, and we'll become a rolling plonker and find out the difference. Okay, so this is what they call a rolling plonker, and this is bad news. So you can see the difference we get there, 2,418, average height of 13.7. So that's why we must keep square to the ground while we're plonking. So when we're taking our readings, irrespective of the size of the field, they say about 30 plonks gives you a good accurate reading, and they also say that you need to take a zigzag shape across the field. So they would say you sort of come in there and then you do a zigzag across the field to get a representative sample. Well, that's what the consultants and the experts will tell you. I don't do it that way. We live in the real world, so what I tend to do, I have my route around the farm, and I go between gateways to make it easy, so I don't do a zigzag, but I do always go the same direction. I would always go the same way and measure the same parts of the field, so I reckon that brings us out pretty close without doing zigzags all across the field where it's not practical. It's going to take too long, and we do have other stuff to do as well. So we kind of go the practical route rather than the academic route on this. Right, so here's the results of our first field, the permanent pasture one, 2,236. So we'll note that down in the book. Right, so this is the second field we're monitoring this year. So this was fodder beet in 2017, and then this grass was planted April of 2018. So there was a video of planting this that I put out last year, and it's looking good. It's a nice dark colour for February. It's quite pleasing to see. If you look over there, if I can zoom in right over there, there's some barley, winter barley. That's not had its fertiliser yet. That's looking a little bit yellow over there. That belongs to a neighbour. But this field had some slurry in the autumn, and it's kept its dark colour all winter. So we've measured this, and this has come out at 2,754 kilograms per hectare. Right, so we've just come across now the field that we oversowed last autumn. So again, it's a nice colour. It is a little bit more yellow than the last field. A few little yellow bits there, but this does tend to lie a little bit wetter here, slightly lower field. But if we zoom in here, we should be able to see that there is that's a new shoot from last year. That's an oversown one. And I don't think that one is, but it's hard to find them, but it's also hard to find any bare patches, which is this time last year. This is what this field was suffering from. So in there's a couple there. There's a couple down in there still surviving. So now it's warming up a little bit. They will shoot on and help to fill those patches in. Right, so this is our final field we're looking at. This is the field that we reseeded September of 2018. It's just dropping out a little bit over the bank there. It's come windy now. I've lost the little wind muff off my microphone, so I've got to hide behind the hedge. I couldn't film in the middle, it was too windy. But it's looking good, it's looking thick. There is a little bit of chickweed in it in places, like there was in the autumn. I can't see any clover yet, but it's early, so I'm not concerned about that at the moment. But it's looking good, it's nice and even, as you can see. Okay, and this is the result, 2,544. Right, so we're back for part 2 now. Things have gone very busy this last week or so. So we are now the 1st of March. Friday the 1st, so I was planning on going around again Monday last week, or this week. But the weather has been so hot for February. It was about, we had from Saturday through to Wednesday, we had continuous high daytime temperatures of about 18 degrees. So what we were doing, we were on another job, we were pumping slurry, so that'll be a video coming up in a few weeks time. So consequently it's been not until Friday that I've got to come round for the second measurement. So just before we take a look at our measurements that I've been around and taken, some of you will recognise these trees. These are the trees that I was spreading slurry around in the video. Hopefully it was last week if I get this out in time. This was when I put the video out of umbilical spreading with obstacles. Now I can't really measure this field because it's changed. It's too different to when I last changed it. You can see the slurry is flattening it down a little bit. But as you can see, look, it's growing up through. So this as soon as we get in, well, if we get any weather dry enough, this will chain arrow and get this slurry knocked off, and these shoots will come on and grow up. Right, so we're in the autumn reseed now, and here is the clover. As I mentioned just 10 days ago that the clover wasn't coming through yet, but it's in the bottom now. Look, you can see the little 3 leaf just coming up, so it's coming. That's a very new leaf. Oh, let's get the leaves. So that's a very young new leaf grown up. So he's protected down in the undercover. So the clover's coming. That will come on. That'll spread over the. Hopefully the whole field is the same as this little bit, and that will come on nicely. Right. So hopefully you can read this. This is our results. Now all our fields have got names, but I've just written down Instead of naming them, I've written down what they are and why we measured them. So the top one is permanent pasture. The second one down is the 1-year-old reseed. Next it's the autumn reseed that we did 2018, and oversown it was much at the same time. So these are all kilograms of dry matter per hectare readings from the 18th, and again from today, the 1st of March. So as you can see, permanent pasture 2,236 has gone up to 2,432 and onwards. So the average of last week 2,586, and the average of today 2,887, I think that is. That's my terrible writing, which gives us a growth for the week of 301 kilograms of dry matter per hectare. Now I need to, there's some things that has not gone wrong, but to explain that is far from normal. I did just mention the weather. We've had those enormous temperatures, and it's grown extremely well, which is very unusual for this time of year. And also it's not a week, it's 10 days, so that's all conspired to put that out a little bit. But there's still true figures, but it's not a 7-day figure, which I would normally aim to do. Looking at these figures, you're all going to say, well, why are your cows not out? Simple fact is, I do know of cows that are out, and there is enough on these covers to turn them out. But like I said, we had the hot weather up until Wednesday of this week. Yesterday, Thursday, it rained. Today it's dull and nasty, but tomorrow and onwards it's going to rain. It's going to rain a lot, which is what you would expect for this time of year. It is just the 1st of March today. So they could have gone out, they could have ate some of this off, but it wasn't really till Monday of this week, perhaps it was dry enough to turn them out, the ground would have taken them. And they would have been unhappy yesterday in the rain. They would be all right today in this weather because it's not cold. But Saturday onwards they would be miserable. They would need to be back in the shed if the rain comes that they're saying we're going to get. We just wouldn't want them out in it. So it's by far, in our opinion, it's better to keep them in, because we knew this weather was never going to last. We knew that, or not this weather. The weather we've had was never going to last. We knew it was going to get wet again. It's far better to be consistent, keep the cows in on the feed that they have got, and we're not at the moment. We're not short of forage, so we're lucky in that respect, considering the weather we had last year. So we decided to keep them in, keep their food consistent, and when we do get to turn them out, hopefully they can be out and stay out in the nice weather and stay there for the rest of the season. So these figures don't reflect any fertiliser applications yet. We've not done it because the weather this last week has been nice, but coming up it's going to be cold and it's going to be wet. We may get on later next week, we don't know yet, but hopefully I'll bring you that when we do it. But these figures are just purely, mostly, almost certainly down to the weather we've had, which, like I keep saying, is totally unexpected and unnormal for this time of year. Right, so as soon as we're ready to turn the cows out, obviously there's going to be a video of the cows going out like there was last year. And when they are out, we will do a proper video explaining how we feed them, how we graze them, how we move them around. I can't really tell you at the moment. I need to show you, I need to explain it to you. So when that happens, we'll be doing that. That's the end of this grass measuring video. Keep a lookout for the next, for the cows going out, whenever that happens. And shortly following that will be the explanation of the grazing system. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.